I used to have this line I'd say at dinner parties. I'd sit back, smile a little, and say, "In 45 years of marriage, my wife and I never had a screaming match. Not one." People would nod. Some would say, "That's a perfect marriage, Frank." And I believed them. I really did. I thought love meant staying calm. I thought silence meant respect. I thought if we didn't fight, we must be doing something right. But I'm sitting here today in a house that is so quiet, it hurts my ears to tell you something I realized too late. That silence wasn't peace. It wasn't love. It was a wall. One I built slowly year after year. And by the time I understood I needed to tear it down, she was already gone. My name is Frank. I'm 76 years old. My wife passed away 4 years ago. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a marriage expert. I don't have any clever advice to sell you. I'm just an old man living in the last chapter of his life. An old dog at my feet. A quiet house that knows all my mistakes. I'm not telling you this because I want sympathy. I don't need it. I'm saying it because I recognize myself in a lot of people I see now. Men who think staying calm means doing the right thing. Couples who believe keeping the peace is the goal. I believe that too. And I learned too late that sometimes peace is just another word for giving up. Let me tell you about the Frank about 30 years ago. I was a good husband. At least that's what the world would have called it. I checked every box they handed me. I worked hard. I paid the bills. I didn't drink too much. I didn't gamble. I stayed faithful. And I was proud of one thing more than anything else. I was calm. I was the steady one, the rock. I was raised to believe a man doesn't lose his temper. A man keeps things under control. So when my wife was upset when she talked about my long hours or how alone she felt, I didn't yell. I did something worse. I went quiet. I'd say, "Let's not make a scene," in a soft, reasonable voice. Or I'd step out into the garage and work on the car until the house went silent again. I told myself I was being mature, that I was the bigger person, the peacemaker. I used to see couples arguing in public, voices raised, faces red, and I'd shake my head. I thought they were broken. What I didn't understand back then was this: at least they were trying to reach each other. I wasn't listening. I was just waiting for her to stop talking. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning in November. She was in the kitchen making tea. I was in the living room reading the paper. I heard the kettle start to whistle. It went on longer than it should have. I remember thinking I'd get up in a second. Then I heard a sound. A dull thud. It was a stroke. Massive. By the time the ambulance arrived, she was already gone. No last conversation. No final words. No chance to fix anything. Just silence. After the funeral, the quiet in this house felt different. It wasn't the calm silence I used to be proud of. It was heavy. It pressed in on me. There was no one left to keep the peace with. And for the first time, I understood what that peace had really cost. About 6 months later, I finally had the strength to go through her things. In the back of her closet, under a stack of old winter sweaters, I found a shoebox. Inside were letters. Letters she had written to me over the years, but never gave me. My hands were shaking as I read them. Most were gentle, careful, still trying not to upset me. But one note written just a few months before she died stopped me cold. She wrote, "Frank, you were always so polite, so calm, but I feel like I'm screaming behind glass, and you just look through me. I would rather you yell at me. I would rather you hate me. Because at least then I'd know you feel something. Your silence makes me feel invisible." That was the moment everything finally made sense. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I wasn't keeping the peace. I was choosing not to feel and calling it good manners. We're taught a lot of things about marriage. especially men, that a quiet home is a good home, that if no one's yelling, everything must be fine. Happy wife, happy life, they say. Just keep things smooth. Avoid the hard conversations. I believed that lie for most of my life. What I learned too late is this conflict is often just someone trying to connect. When your partner is upset, when they keep bringing something up, when they cry or push or argue, they're not trying to ruin the relationship. They're knocking on the door. They're saying, I'm still here. Can you see me? I never opened that door. I added another lock. I stayed quiet. I stayed polite. I stayed distant. And eventually she stopped knocking. She stopped complaining. She stopped trying to talk. I remember thinking, good, things are finally calm. They weren't calm. She wasn't happy. She was alone. And she had already accepted that she was alone in our marriage. Now, when I look back, I don't see the big arguments we never had. I see the small moments where I failed her. There was a day she broke a vase, an old one, a gift from my mother. It slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. She froze. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She was waiting for my reaction. I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice. I sighed. I said, it's fine, and went to get the broom. I didn't look at her. I didn't tell her it was okay. I didn't touch her shoulder or meet her eyes. I used my silence to punish her. My calmness became a weapon. It said, you disappointed me, without ever saying the words. Another time, she told me she wanted to open a small flower shop. Her eyes lit up when she talked about it. I thought it was risky. I thought it was impractical. But instead of talking it through, instead of sitting down and really listening, I said, we'll see. Maybe later. Let's not rush. I didn't argue with her. I slowly closed the door on her dream. I avoided the messy conversation. And in doing that, I avoided her. For 45 years, I slept just fine. I'd lie next to her, turn off the lamp, and think, another good day. No drama. I thought that meant I was doing something right. I thought I was winning at marriage. Now I don't sleep. I wander through this big, empty house at 3 in the morning, and the silence feels loud enough to hurt. I would give everything I own, the house, the savings, all of it, just to hear her argue with me one more time, just to see her face tighten with frustration, because that would mean she's still here. That would mean we're still us. I want to ask you something. Don't answer me. Answer yourself. Is the peace in your home real, or is it just resignation? When your partner brings up something difficult, what do? Do you lean in? Or do you shut down? Do you tell yourself you're being good by avoiding the fight? Are there things you swallow every day, words you push down, feelings you keep quiet, just to keep everything smooth? Be careful. Don't mistake silence for safety, and don't mistake comfort for connection. If you're watching this, I won't tell you what to do. I'll just tell you what I wish I had done. If you're angry, let it be heard. If you're hurt, say it out loud. If the words come out messy, let them. Uncomfortable words are better than no words at all. Arguments are better than distance, because one day one of you won't be here anymore, and silence will no longer be a choice. I live with all the things I was too polite to say, too calm to express, too careful to risk. You may not be where I am yet. You may still have time. What you do with that time, that part is up to you. I'm Frank. Thank you for listening. If this story meant something to you, leave a comment. Tell me what you're going to do differently. I invite you to subscribe to this channel. There are more stories like this from people who've lived long enough to see clearly and who want to share what they learned before time runs out.